जय नारायण बच्चों, आई होप you all are doing good. I hope you are following SMS rule. S means what? S means soap. You have to wash your hands with soap for 30 seconds. And M for mask. You have to wear your mask whenever you go outside. And S for social distancing. You have to maintain social distance of 6 feet or 2 meter. Okay. Okay, so today we are gonna start a new topic that is from your supplementary book, An Alien Hand, and your chapter is 3, The Desert. Okay, so before moving ahead, we will see the picture of desert. See, it's so beautiful. But a desert is a dry place. It's not beautiful, but it is not true. Actually, it is beautiful in its own way. So we will talk about the desert. We will read about the desert in this chapter. Chapter 3. A desert is generally without water and vegetation. A green patch with fresh water and green trees in the middle of a vast desert is a beautiful sight, and a desert may be too hot or too cold. Okay. Those of us who live in regions covered with forest and surrounded by hills may find it difficult to imagine what a desert is really look like. A popular belief is that it is an endless stretch of sand where no rain falls and therefore no vegetation grows. It is the home of a variety of people, animals, and plants that have learned to live underwater, very hot and dry conditions. There, in this para, it has been talked about that some people live in the forest, some people live over the hills. Now, they don't know what the beauty of desert is. They don't know the beauty of desert is, and they think that it is a very dry place, nothing else. There is no beauty in this, but this belief is not true, and. People also think that it is an endless stretch of sand where no rain falls and therefore no vegetation grows. It is dry, hot, and waterless without shelter, but this is not entirely correct. Uh, those who have studied the desert, it's a beautiful place. There are many. You'll find kinds of people, variety of animals and plants that have learned. They are become habitual of that place. They are habitual of that climate, and they know very well that how to survive in such conditions. If you are living in UP and if you are living in MP, you know the conditions of UP and MP. You know how to survive there. You become habitual of those conditions, those situations, and you anyhow survive there, in that beauty. And you always try to find beauty in that place. So in the same way, those people who are living in this desert area, they know the beauty of the desert in its own way. They know it's beautiful place. They are become habitual of living there. True, the ground is not always hidden by a cover of grass, plants, and trees as it is in other climates, but wherever it rains, which is rare, desert flowers bloom, and the sight can be as rewarding as that of any tropical garden. There is rainfall, which is rare, which is not very often. It happens very rarely, in rare case, but when it happens, it looks so beautiful, so beautiful. Desert flowers bloom, and the sight blue means when it's a condition of producing flowers, when seed matures in a flower, that is called bloom. So when desert flowers bloom in that rainfall, it looks so beautiful, and it is as rewarding as that of any tropical garden. Its beauty is same as that of that tropical any greenery area. A desert is not always a flat, unchanging wasteland of trees. Some people consider it as wasteland. There is no use of this land. But it is not true. It may have mountains and hills. It may have an oasis, big or small. An oasis, what is an oasis? We will see in this picture. See, this is an oasis. A place in the So oasis is a place in the desert where there is water and where plants grow. You can see this patch in the middle of the land. This is called oasis, a place in the desert where there is water and where plants grow. Some deserts are almost totally without water. In such places, strong winds blow, raising heaps of sand and depositing them as mounds. And these are called sand dunes. Like now, what do you mean by mounds? See, when the wind blows with that force, sand started gathering or collecting at one place, and there is a pile of sand or stones, or so there is a small hill. It becomes a small hill. Plants, so what are the name that plant which can survive in desert area? That is cactus. That they become habitual of living in that condition. They become they become aware that how to use the resources, which is resources uh, in a limited way, like in limit. So the camel is a typical desert animal. Smaller desert animals have an unusual means of satisfying their need for water. So camel is a typical desert animal. I have told you, a camel is called the ship of the desert. All living things need water in order to survive. The few plants and animals that live in deserts have developed the ability to require less water than most plants and animals. A camel, popularly known as the ship of the desert, can drink a lot of water at one time. So, a camel is called the ship of the desert because he can survive without water for so many days. He has a quality. He has a is a quality that he drinks a lot. He can drink a lot of water at one time and can store it in his body for so many days. That's how he doesn't need water, and he can survive without water for so many days. Camels can do without water for days together. The reason is that they sweat very little. We sweat because we must keep our body temperature constant. We sweat when it gets hot, and this cools the body temperature. Okay, when the climate is hot, our body gets hot, and we sweat. Through that sweat, water comes out from our body, and it keeps our body cool. But what happens with camels can stand high body temperature. They don't need to sweat and can therefore retain the water they drink for long periods of time. Okay, they have already, they no need to sweat. The sweat doesn't comes out from the body of the camels. That's why that water which comes out in the form of sweat from our bodies, it retains there in the body of the camel, and because of that he doesn't need water for so many days. Desert animals, they don't need drink water. They burrow underground during the hot day and come out at night to eat. Like they burrow means, what do you mean by burrow? See, you can see a hole in the ground. A hole in the ground is called burrow. So they make a hole in the ground and they live there in the day at time, and when there is cold temperature in the night, they can come out from their burrows. Some of them eat other animals and get the water they need from the moisture in the meat. Okay, so these small animals, what they do to get moisture, to get water in that desert area, they eat meat. They eat other animals, and from their bodies they get water. They get water in the form of moisture. Others eat plants and seeds and get the water they need from plant juices. And some eat plants and seeds and get the water they need from plant juices. Some get water from the plants. Desert plants also adapt themselves to the life they lead. Okay, desert plants also, they also become habitual of that condition, that situation, and that climate. And cactus plants store water in their thick stems. You must have read this in your science, that how cactus survive in the desert area. It stores water in their stores water in its thick stems. The roots lie close to the surface of the ground and quickly absorb the moisture from the light rains. When it light rains happens occasionally there, as we have discussed, that there is a rare rainfall. So with that light rains, desert area is so hot at that moment. What happens when there is humid climate? So that from that humid climate the moisture produces, and that moisture keeps that place safe. Like it works like a protector, it works like a blanket and protects the earth's surface from the hot rays of the sun. And the absence of this blanket in desert lands causes the desert to heat up rapidly during the day and to cool off rapidly at night. And when there is no blanket, the day gets hot and cool rapidly at night. When there is no sun at night, there is coolness. Deserts are is beautiful in its own way. We should not consider it as a waste land, and we can't ignore it. We can't ignore it, and it is a very important part of the earth. It is an important part of the earth in order to survive. So these are the questions I'll provide you in the PDF. Your homework is, there's an activity: collect information about the desert and present the desert in a beautiful and positive way. You can present in any way. As we have already seen the beauty of desert, you have to collect information about the desert and present the desert in a beautiful and positive way. You can make a collage, you can make posters. What was your thinking about the desert? Has this chapter changed your thinking about the desert? Okay, you can mention few lines along with your activity on the basis of this question. What was your thinking about the desert? Has this chapter changed your thinking about the desert? Thank you so much for the day. Have a great day. Jai Narayan.